Right, there's a quick walk around video for a Lexus IS 220 diesel, and this is the SE model, finished in a lovely dark metallic blue, which almost looks black in some lights, but when the sun comes out it looks absolutely glorious, and it comes with a contrasting ivory leather interior. The car's done 103,000 miles, and I'll just go around the car for you and pick up on any obvious marks on the vehicle that I can. But showing you the lenses on the front there, completely clear, free from cracks or condensation. Front bumper, apart from a few suicidal flies, is in generally very good condition. Bonnet is all but unmarked, which is astonishing given the mileage of the car. There is a couple of little stone chips, so you can see just here they've been touched in, and then there's a few more down here as well, but you know, for a car this age and mileage, very clean indeed. Near side flank of the car, again very smooth. Can't see any obvious indentations on that side of the car at all. Front wing, again very clean. Front alloy, in fact all the alloys look very good. Recently been refurbished, it would appear. And then come down the side of the car, all very nice. You know, I'm not going to say the car is immaculate, far from it. The car is very nice when you take into consideration the age and mileage of the car. There will be the odd minor blemish on the vehicle, but they're very few and far between. But we just have to respect, you know, the age and mileage of the car to some degree. But that's not to kind of make any excuses, because it is generally a very nice, clean, tidy car. But I recommend everybody comes to see the vehicles. Don't just rely on the videos, because what's good for one man is different to someone else, and I fully appreciate that, but this is just sort of a guide for the car. But to go around the back of the car, again all nice and clean and tidy. Offside of the vehicle, again really nice. There's a couple of tiny little pin dents which I'll try and find for you, but I'll have a hunt for those in a second. All the tyres in really lovely condition. I think, you know, they're virtually sort of 7mm all round. There were changes as a set. So just trying to find this little dimple dent. There's one just there, you can just see, and I think there's one just a bit further on, but I mean they're very small indeed, and I'm being particularly nitpicky, if that's a word, or two words. But overall, generally a very clean and tidy and original car, which is really nice to see. So come to the back of the car, rear near side door guide, absolutely unmarked. Back of the seats, which can take a bit of a battering from feet, as we all know, actually in very nice condition. An offside door card again, can't see any marks in there at all. Lovely looking leatherwork in the vehicle, really nicely done, very classy, matches the exterior perfectly, and in very nice condition. Driver's door card, in again absolutely super condition, no obvious marks or even wear on it. It's amazing really. Electric window bank there, switch bank, and also the electric folding wing mirrors, all in really nice order. Come around to the driver's seat, just show that mat's just covering the mat underneath. It does have a tiny little hole, you can see in the actual original mat there where the heel is, but said, given that they're probably the original mats, in fantastic order. Electrically adjusted driver's seat, again the way you want to look for is on the bolsters. There's hardly anything of any note there at all. It's in fantastic condition. And then come across to the passenger seat, in equally very good condition. It really is fantastic for its age and mileage. This car, it really is. So sat in the car now, engine's running as it has been all the way through the video. Just a pan around, but the dashboard, in all honesty, almost looks like new. It's in fantastic condition. Dual zone climate control system, all working absolutely perfectly. It was red hot yesterday. It was blowing out lovely cold air, but really is in super condition. Obviously you got, on the SE models, you got air conditioned and heated seats. They all work absolutely perfectly. As I said, it was over 30 degrees yesterday, and really did help to have those seats and that with the cooling on them, certainly. Footwell area again, all very nice. Inside the glove box here, just to quickly show you, got the locking wheel and that set and are all original owners manuals for the vehicle as well, just to come across the dashboard itself to the main binnacle. And just to pad in there for you, 103,355 miles, and there's no warning lights on the vehicle whatsoever. But it genuinely is, as I said, the video doesn't really do it justice, in all honesty. This is one of the nicest cars you'll see, certainly within this sort of price bracket. So finally just come under the engine bay, all very nicely presented as you'd expect from Toyota, there we are, Lexus. Engine's just been serviced by ourselves, but very, very smooth, quiet and long-lasting engines. What will follow this video should be a road test of this very car. Right then, this is a quick road test video, and this is for a Lexus IS 220 diesel, and this is the SE model. And this particular car is registered OV07MFF. And mileage at the start of this brief road test is, I'll put it on the right display for you, there's 103,347 miles. The reason we do the road tests, as I say in all of them, is very simple indeed, is that the internet's made searching for cars really easy for people, and it's really good. And people are willing to travel much further for the right car, right price, right spec, whatever happens to be. But clearly that's fraught with having the potential, clearly, of having your time wasted if there's a potential fault with the car that you should have been told about prior to coming. And we've been on the receiving end ourselves, so we know how frustrating it is, which is the reason why we actually do this. The road tests are also done on exactly the same road test route as any prospective buyer will go on, so I'd hope would be representative of what you should feel when you come and drive the car if you obviously want to purchase the vehicle. Just a brief background to this particular car. There's a local owner to it, had the vehicle. She bought another Lexus IS 250, in her case, off us, and this was the car she part exchanged in. So starting with the car itself, engine of the vehicle starts absolutely straight away. There's no smoke, there's no strange noises. It's very, very smooth actually, very quiet. There's no warning lights on the car at all relating to the engine or any other part of the vehicle either. But the engine itself, as I said, very, very smooth and quiet in operation. It's got loads of grunts, picks up really nicely, but without any kind of diesel clatter or noise coming back through into the cabin. It's very, very refined indeed. Engine then feeds through clutch and into gearbox. Clutch on the car, very smooth in operation. Bite point exactly where you'd want and hope it to be as well. Also worth noting that when the clutch is pressed in or released, that the engine noise stays the same and there's no vibrations coming back through into the vehicle at all. Clutch then goes through to the 6-speed gearbox. Obviously the 6-speed gearbox in a rear-wheel drive car has the advantage of going straight down into the gearbox itself, so there's no horrible cables going through to the front of the car. And you can tell that with the vehicle. It's got very nice actuation. The gears engage really nicely. Synchro mesh feels really good indeed. Real strong point of these cars, of course. But the actual quality of gear changes hardly feels any different from a very, very low mileage one. It's testament to just how well they build these cars, of course. But it's the actual gear change itself is as good as any I've driven, even with sort of 20-30,000 miles on the clock. So in terms of engine, gearbox and clutch, all feels in very, very nice order indeed. Worth pointing out, the engine has just been serviced by ourselves as well, so nothing to do for 12 months, or unless you're doing particularly high mileage. Car tracks bullet straight. There's absolutely no vibrations coming back through the steering wheel of the car, which is a pet hate of mine. So if you had a kind of a deformed tyre or wheel out of balance, that kind of thing, but that's all in very, very nice order. Steering's also very, very taut. There's no obvious wear in it at all. It feels crisp, quick to respond. There's no delays at all. Really, really nice order actually. Likewise, the suspension of the car, obviously a strong point for Lexus cars. Very, very smooth riding, and I can't hear any obvious sort of clonks, bangs or anything underneath. And what I'm really looking for, especially on a car with 100,000 miles on the clock, is just obvious signs, and in all honesty, expected signs of wear and tear. And what you'd normally get is, when it goes over a bump, you should hear it go over the bump. Like, hopefully I'll try to get it there or there. But what I'm looking for really is just signs of the kind of little aftershocks where it goes, you get little clonks or bangs, which suggest that it's all okay. It's just probably got a little bit of wear in there. But there's nothing at all in this. It's very, very, very tight. The whole car feels much as one as it did, and it's not always the case with 100,000 mile cars. Quite often you get in them, they feel their mileage, but this one's has been well looked after, and you feel that pretty much as soon as you drive the car. It really does feel very, very nice indeed. Engine really does pick up well, gets up to the legal limit there, actually a couple of gears before I needed to. 60 mile an hour here now, very, very quiet indeed in here. So I'm just going to check the cruise control function. That works exactly as it should. But again, what I'm trying to look out for, or listen out for rather, at these sorts of speed is, these are very, very, very quiet cars, one of the quietest you'll drive. But obviously if the car had a replacement windscreen badly fitted, or someone sort of damaged the door seal over sort of the mileage it's done, then you would get a really annoying wind hiss come into the vehicle. But there's nothing at all on this. It's absolutely unbelievably quiet actually. It really, really is. Brakes on the car, when I did the pre-delivery inspection this morning, looked in really fine order. Lady did tell me that it wasn't that long ago since she had new discs and pads, and that certainly looked like it when I looked underneath this morning. But the brake pedal itself, lovely solid pedal, nose dives and squats, nice, straight and true. Suggests again that discs are in good order, struts are in good order, but all feels very, very, very. She just kept on top of it all. I mean, she was paranoid about safety. The Lexus she bought for me just had new discs and pads, and that was top of her checklist. Looking around inside the car, it's in lovely, lovely condition, and there is not a hint of a squeak or a rattle or a creak from the interior of the car. This is genuine and real build quality. The car's now 10 years old, 100,000 miles, and you would never ever believe it to drive it. It just is unbelievably tight and taut. All the plastics are in absolutely fantastic condition. The dashboard itself, the whole centre area here, I can't see any signs where it's been scagged or marked or otherwise in here. Seats all feel really supportive to drive. Obviously SE specs, you've got dual zone climate control on the car, air conditioning, and I'll let you know now, it is one of the hottest days of the year with nearly 30 degrees outside, and that's absolutely ice cold, the air coming out of the air conditioning system, so that's all in very nice order. The car also does have heated and air conditioned seats, and I can tell you that the air conditioned seats work really rather nicely, because I've got a very cool bottom, which is, on a day like today, a blessing, it's got to be honest with you, but it's they're all working absolutely perfectly. Looking around the rest of the dashboard, again, it's a bit of a repeated theme, but it is much more like a car that's done a much lower mileage than this. It just feels, really nice inside with the plastics and the condition they're in. The main dashboard in front of me now, classic Lexus affair. It's really nicely done dials, very classy. We're up at obviously hot days, so temperature gauge on there is just under half, which is exactly where it wants to be on a Lexus car, petrol or diesel. But it all works absolutely beautifully. It genuinely drives fantastically well, and anyone coming to see the car, I'm sure you'd know, you'd feel that yourself. The videos I do, I am critical of them, so if there is something on the car that's wrong with it, and I've done it many times on many of my videos in the past, I will tell you. The fact that I can't find anything on this is a credit really to its last owner and the way that she kept the car. But I can't find anything on this vehicle that have driven the car now that suggests the car has any issues with it. There's no warning lights, all the gauges are in the right areas, but it feels tight, it feels taut, it feels really nicely kept, this car. It's just such a comfortable and quiet drive, it really is. Clearly, obviously, if I've missed anything on the video, it's not by intent. I don't do that. If you need to know anything about the car that I've not gone over on the vehicle, then obviously please do give me a call, and I'll do my best to sort of get an answer for you as soon as I possibly can.